Thinking big does not begin with ambition or pressure. It begins with a quiet moment of awareness. It starts when you notice that your mind has been playing small for a long time, without you ever choosing it. Most people move through life solving daily problems without questioning the direction of their thinking. Over time, the mind becomes busy, tired, and focused only on what feels immediate and familiar. Thinking big is not about changing your whole life at once or setting unrealistic goals. It is about allowing your mind to gently consider that more might be possible than what you are currently experiencing. When thinking stays small, life starts feeling repetitive and predictable in subtle ways. Days begin to blend together, and progress feels slow even when effort is present. Many people believe they are being realistic when they lower expectations. In reality, they are often protecting themselves from disappointment rather than allowing growth. A mind that thinks small avoids uncertainty because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. A mind that thinks bigger learns to sit with uncertainty without panic or pressure. Thinking big does not demand confidence at the beginning. Confidence slowly appears after the mind accepts that growth is allowed. Most limits you believe in were never tested properly. They were learned early, repeated often, and accepted quietly over time. The mind believes repetition more than truth. Whatever you tell yourself daily slowly becomes the lens through which you see life. When thinking begins to expand, effort feels different. Actions feel calmer, more intentional, and less forced. Fear does not disappear when you start thinking bigger. It simply becomes less powerful when it is no longer obeyed immediately. Small thinking focuses on avoiding mistakes and staying comfortable. Bigger thinking focuses on learning without harsh self-judgment. When thinking grows, decisions slow down naturally. Slower decisions often feel clearer and more balanced. Thinking big also teaches patience without effort. Patience appears when the mind understands that meaningful growth takes time. Many people feel exhausted because they rush outcomes before their thinking is ready. Bigger thinking allows progress to unfold steadily. Before change appears on the outside, it must feel safe on the inside. Thinking big prepares the mind gently for that change. This part is not asking you to act or push yourself. It is simply asking you to notice how your thinking has been shaping your life. In the next part, we will explore how thinking big slowly changes how you see yourself. This inner shift makes everything else feel lighter. Thinking big does not change your life overnight. It slowly changes the way you see yourself over time. This inner shift happens quietly, without pressure, noise, or the need to prove anything. Most people are still living with an old image of themselves that was formed years ago through experiences and opinions. Even when life changes, the mind keeps following that image because it feels familiar and safe. When thinking stays small, you see yourself as someone who must adjust and survive within limits. When thinking grows, you begin to see yourself as someone who can learn, adapt, and move forward steadily. This change does not arrive suddenly or dramatically, and it does not require motivation. It appears slowly when you stop judging yourself and start observing your thoughts honestly. Thinking big allows you to question labels you accepted too early in life without testing them. Labels like not ready or not capable slowly lose power when they are seen clearly. As your identity expands, confidence begins to appear naturally instead of being forced. You stop trying to believe in yourself and start trusting your ability to grow. Many people wait to feel confident before moving forward and remain stuck for years. Big thinking understands that confidence develops after action, not before it. When your self-image grows, responsibility feels lighter instead of frightening. Challenges stop feeling personal and start feeling like part of progress. Thinking big also changes how failure feels inside the mind. Failure becomes information instead of a judgment on your worth. As identity becomes clearer, comparison slowly loses its hold on you. You begin focusing on your own direction instead of measuring yourself against others. Your pace becomes calmer because there is no longer a need to prove anything. Progress starts feeling personal, steady, and meaningful. Thinking big gives you permission to grow at your own pace without guilt. This permission removes pressure and supports consistency. Over time, actions begin to align with who you are becoming. Effort starts feeling natural instead of forced. This part is about understanding that identity is flexible, not fixed. When identity shifts, effort feels lighter and more sustainable. In the next part, you will notice changes in daily decisions. Small choices will begin to carry more direction and meaning. Thinking big does not suddenly change what you do in life. It slowly changes how you make decisions every single day. Small daily choices begin to feel more intentional instead of automatic or emotionally driven. When thinking is small, decisions are usually made to avoid discomfort, risk, or uncertainty. When thinking grows, decisions are made to support long-term direction rather than short-term relief. Most people react to situations without giving themselves time to think clearly. Big thinking creates a gentle pause where awareness enters before action. This pause does not feel dramatic or forced. It feels calm and natural. It gives the mind space to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. Thinking big slowly changes how you choose where to spend your time and energy. You become selective in a calm way, without becoming rigid or harsh. Small thinking says yes too often just to stay comfortable or accepted. Bigger thinking learns to say no quietly to protect focus and direction. Daily habits begin to shift naturally when thinking expands over time. You start choosing actions that support growth instead of habits that only feel easy. Thinking big also changes how you experience pressure in everyday life. Pressure becomes useful information instead of something you need to escape from. When challenges appear, you no longer rush into decisions emotionally. You allow yourself a moment of clarity before choosing how to respond. Big thinking makes patience part of the decision-making process. You stop forcing outcomes that clearly need time to develop properly. Many people exhaust themselves by making fast decisions again and again. Bigger thinking values steady movement over constant urgency. As thinking expands, your priorities slowly become clearer. Things that matter less begin losing control over your attention. Thinking big also changes how you deal with mistakes and missteps. You correct direction calmly instead of criticizing yourself harshly. Small thinking sees mistakes as proof that something is wrong with you. Bigger thinking sees them as guidance for adjustment and learning. As decisions begin aligning with bigger thinking, consistency becomes easier. You no longer fight yourself internally to stay on track. Effort feels lighter because your choices support each other naturally. There is less inner conflict and resistance. Thinking big teaches you to trust slow and steady progress. You stop measuring growth only by speed or quick results. Over time, daily decisions begin shaping a clearer and more intentional path. That path feels chosen rather than accidental. This part is about understanding the power of everyday decisions. Big change grows quietly from repeated calm choices. In the next part, everything comes together naturally. Thinking big becomes a way of living, not just an idea. Thinking big is not a sudden burst of motivation that fades quickly. It is a quiet habit that develops slowly through repeated awareness. Over time, this habit changes how life feels without creating pressure or emotional noise. As thinking grows in a steady way, life begins to feel calmer and more intentional instead of rushed. You stop chasing every outcome and start trusting the direction you're moving in. Big thinking does not remove challenges from life, but it changes how you experience them internally. Challenges feel manageable because your mind stays steady instead of reacting with fear. You begin to notice that your energy feels more balanced throughout the day. This balance comes from mental clarity and alignment, not from avoiding effort. Thinking big slowly reshapes how you define success in your own life. Success becomes about progress and inner alignment, rather than constant achievement. Small thinking looks for quick results to feel safe and reassured. Bigger thinking understands that meaningful growth takes time and patience. As this mindset settles, the inner pressure you once carried begins to reduce naturally. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself repeatedly. Thinking big helps you release unnecessary emotional weight from the past. Old mistakes lose their control over present decisions and direction. You start feeling more grounded in the choices you make each day. Grounded choices create calm confidence without force. Uncertainty no longer feels overwhelming in the same way. It becomes a normal part of learning and growth. When life feels unclear, bigger thinking helps you remain steady. You focus more on direction than on temporary outcomes. Over time, your relationship with time begins to change. You stop rushing life and start moving with purpose. Daily actions begin to feel connected to something meaningful. Even small steps feel valuable and worthwhile. Thinking big does not demand perfection or constant performance. It allows progress without harsh self-pressure. As this habit deepens, fulfillment begins to appear quietly and consistently. Fulfillment comes from living with intention. You may still feel tired at times because effort is still required. But you no longer feel lost because direction brings calm. This way of thinking slowly becomes part of your daily life. It no longer feels like something you have to force. The real power of thinking big shows itself over long periods of time. It shapes life gently and steadily. This final part brings everything together in a calm and balanced way. Thinking big becomes a way of living, not just an idea.